Right now in America, there's a new kind of empire being built. And it's not by the old money families you might think of, not with royal blood or anything like that. We're talking about immigrant families who came here with, well, pretty much nothing but ambition, grit, and a killer strategy. So forget everything you know about old money because a totally new kind of dynasty is on the rise. And these are the families who have literally shaped everything around us. I mean, from the phones in our pockets to the very cities we live in. These are the people who built billion-dollar empires completely from scratch. And what's so fascinating is that they all built these empires from the ground up. I mean, sure, their individual stories are all different, but they've got these common threads connecting them. We're talking about a relentless drive, a truly strategic mind. And this is the key part. Most of them showed up in the US without any kind of safety net. No inherited wealth, no status. They really, truly built it all themselves. So that begs the question, right? How on earth did they do it? How did they not just live the American dream, but totally rewrite the rulebook for the 21st century? Well, that's what we're going to find out. We're going to count down the top 10 richest Chinese-American families to see exactly how these dynasties were built. All right, let's kick things off with our first group, numbers 10 through 7. I like to call them the pioneers, the visionaries who built the very digital bedrock we're all standing on today. These are the families who saw the future way back in the early days of software, gaming, and the internet. So kicking us off at number 10 is the family of the late, great Charles Wang. I mean, his story is the classic immigrant dream. He fled the Chinese Civil War, landed in Queens when he was just 8 years old, and couldn't speak a single word of English. Fast forward to 1976, he starts a company called Computer Associates with nothing but a credit card. He built it into a behemoth with this super aggressive, take-no-prisoners style. He didn't just break through the bamboo ceiling in corporate tech. He absolutely shattered it, becoming one of the very first and most powerful Chinese-American CEOs out there. Coming in at number 9 is Chen Tianxiao. Now this guy, he basically created the entire online gaming industry in China with his company Shanda. He was the undisputed king of digital entertainment. But then, and this is wild, he just walked away from it all. After suffering from these terrible panic attacks, he became completely obsessed with one thing: understanding the human brain. So he packed up his family, moved his fortune to the US, and now he funds cutting-edge brain research at Caltech. What a pivot. All right, at number 8, we have the Chan brothers. And what's so interesting about them is how they act as this incredible bridge between massive Asian wealth and American innovation. See, they inherited this huge real estate empire in Hong Kong. But instead of just sitting on it, they used that money to become these quiet kingmakers in American biotech. They're the ones funding companies that are working on truly breakthrough treatments for diseases. And if you want to understand their impact, just look at this number: $350 million. That's how much they donated to Harvard School of Public Health in one go back in 2014. It was the biggest single gift the university had ever seen at that point. They even renamed a school after the brothers' father. I mean, that's not just a donation, that's transformational philanthropy. Okay, number 7 is an absolute legend from the first wave of the internet, Jerry Yang. His story is pure Silicon Valley. He came from Taiwan, knew just one word of English, and then goes on to co-found Yahoo in a Stanford dorm room. But you know what his most brilliant move was? He convinced Yahoo to invest $1 billion in this tiny little-known e-commerce startup in China back in 2005. You might have heard of it. It was called Alibaba. Yeah, that turned out to be one of the single greatest investments in tech history. All right, let's move on to our next block of empire builders, number 6 through 4. These are the folks who created products that you and I use literally every day, from the tiny microchips inside our computers to the food we grab on the go. Number 6. This might be one of the most incredible stories of resilience I have ever come across. Meet David Sun and John Tu. They build a successful memory chip company, and then, boom, they lose everything in a single day during the Black Monday stock market crash of 1987. Totally wiped out. But were they defeated? No way. They rebuilt the entire thing from the ashes, greeting Kingston technology. And get this, when they finally sold it for $1.5 billion, the first thing they did was give $100 million back to their employees in bonuses. They eventually bought the company back, and believe it or not, they still run it as a private behemoth today. At number 5, we've got the Cherng family, the masterminds behind Panda Express. So Andrew, he brought the food, know-how, the recipes from his father, who was a master chef, but the real secret weapon, that was his wife, Peggy. See, Peggy has a PhD in electrical engineering, and she took the kind of systems analysis you'd see in the aerospace industry and applied it, to fast food. She built this incredible tech backbone to make sure every single scoop of orange chicken at every single location was exactly the same. That's not just cooking, that's engineering an empire. The man at number 4, if you look up persistence in the dictionary, his picture should be there. This is Eric Yuan. His application for a US visa was rejected 8 times. 8! He finally gets in, becomes a star engineer at WebEx. He goes to his bosses at Cisco with this killer idea for a better, more modern video platform, and they shut him down. They said no. So what did he do? He walked. And here's the crazy part. 40 other engineers walked out with him. Together, they built that platform, and they called it Zoom. Okay, we're entering the top tier now, the final 3. These aren't just empire builders, these are the modern-day titans. Their influence is shaping, well, pretty much the entire future, from e-commerce and sports to medicine and, of course, the world-changing force of artificial intelligence. In the number 3 spot is Joseph Tai, a man who made one of the most insane bets in business history. Picture this. You're a high-powered private equity exec in Hong Kong making $700,000 a year. Life is good. Then you meet a guy named Jack Ma in his tiny apartment, and you're so blown away by his vision for a company called Alibaba that you quit your job. You leave that massive salary behind to join his startup for $50 a month. 50! While Jack Ma was the charismatic visionary, Joe Tai was the brilliant architect who built the entire legal and financial machine that made Alibaba possible. And his story in America was really just getting started. He's a huge sports fan, and today he owns the NBA's Brooklyn Nets and the WNBA's New York Liberty. He's become this incredibly powerful figure, bridging the gap between Chinese tech and American culture. Our number 2 built his massive fortune not with lines of code, but with pure science. This is Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong. He's a surgeon who escaped apartheid in South Africa and came to America. He was just so frustrated with the brutal shotgun blast approach of chemotherapy. So he came up with this idea for a smart bomb therapy, a way to attack cancer cells directly while leaving healthy tissue alone. That vision led him to invent Abraxane, a truly revolutionary cancer drug. Selling his pharma companies made him one of the richest doctors on the planet. But he didn't just cash out and retire. Oh, no. Today, the man wears a lot of hats. He's still a surgeon and a scientist, but he also owns the Los Angeles Times and is even a part owner of the LA Lakers. His influence is everywhere. And that brings us to number 1, the undisputed titan of this list, a man whose company is so critical, so central to the AI revolution, that people are calling him the Taylor Swift of tech. Seriously, he is Jensen Huang, the co-founder and CEO of Nvidia. His family's net worth has absolutely exploded, now soaring past $100 billion. I mean, just look at this journey. The whole idea for Nvidia was literally sketched out on a napkin at a Denny's. For years, they were the kings of video game graphics. But then, Jensen Huang made this colossal bet-the-company kind of move. He realized that the same chips they were building for gaming, these chips that could do thousands of calculations at once, were actually perfect for training artificial intelligence. So when the AI boom finally hit, Nvidia wasn't just ready. They were the ones selling all the picks and shovels in the new gold rush. Their company's value just went stratospheric, soaring past $3 trillion. So when you step back and look at it all, from those early software pioneers to the absolute dominance of today's AI revolution, the stories of these 10 families just paint this unbelievable picture of ambition, vision, and influence. And you start to see what connects them all, right? It's so much more than just money. There's a shared blueprint here, a relentless nonstop work ethic, a deep, profound belief in education, and this unique, almost genius-level ability to bridge the world's 2 biggest economies, the US and China. You see, they didn't just come here to join the American story. They came here to rewrite the whole next chapter. Think about it. These families are funding our biggest scientific breakthroughs. They are building the very hardware that powers our entire digital world. They're shaping our culture. And that leaves us with one final, really big question to chew on. As these families continue to build our future, what will the ultimate legacy of these new American dynasties actually